Let me at him!
It seems like we're getting started now.
We are indeed. Fountain of Manipulation is the map that we will be playing. Well, I say we'll be lazily watching this and randomly throwing out words from time to time as we watch these pro free-for-all players give it a go.
Indeed.
So let's start. Well, let me begin by introducing everyone to Soso, who is a fantastic free-for-all player, one of the best in free-for-all masters, and you might have watched him if you've seen any of my videos. Specifically, go and watch the one where he plays on Sanctuary. I shouldn't really be trying to give any spoilers, but I guess the game is in the past, so it's okay. And that one is called Free-for-all Masters Free-for-all #1, but I can always link that in the video description below. But go check that game out. And Soso is the orc who fended off 2 people for pretty much the entirety of the game, considering how long that game went on for. That was definitely the fast majority of it. So tell us a bit about yourself, Soso, your experiences in that game and what makes free-for-all so fun for you.
Well, I've been playing like competitively in the free-for-all scene for like 3 years now, and I started on the basics, like learning how do you manage gold, how do you coordinate, and how do you win free-for-all, since it seemed like pretty chaotic to me that you have like 4 players or maybe even 8 players who are just spawning next to each other, and isn't it sort of random how the game turns out and stuff like that? But as I played along and I got to know all the good FFA players, I learned that there's actually not that many random things in free-for-all if you play competitively and everybody is trying to win. You would sometimes play on FFA arena bot and stuff like that, where some players will just play and have fun suiciding someone. But in these kind of games here on the FFA Masters League, you won't see that so often. People usually try to win here, and there's a lot of kind of theoretical things and sort of things you can use to your strategic advantage as you play along in these games. But yeah, I've played and competed, and I've reached the final once in FFA Masters and the semi-finals, and I won King of FFA, and I played in the Play FFA Cup. I know you casted that as well, where HRT was playing in the final with Alien and Shave and Ostwan, I think it was. That was a pretty good game. That was also a game of a long 3-way with sort of balancing all the time and making sure that someone wasn't getting too strong.
That was
this
crazy.
Is how the usual games are in 4 ways with 4 players.
There's an unspoken bond where players respectfully sort of like leave each other alone to some degree because they know it's not worth the hassle, and then you have to almost sacrifice themselves a little bit if someone is getting too powerful. Like there's that teamwork that goes on, like you say, like 2 people team up and then sort of like throw themselves at someone just to sort of bring them down to their level.
Yeah, of course in FFA everyone just wants to be left alone so they could get stronger in theory, like and get more gold and better levels and creep all the map. But of course good FFA players won't allow that, so they will sometimes, coordinate and say, okay, now we are the 2 strongest and there are 3 players in a game, so we decide to attack each other and weaken each other a bit to let the 3rd player come in the game and then take it from there. There's a sort of kind of like unspoken agreements in FFA because they have such a good understanding of FFA and have been playing for years. So especially the one we see in the upper right corner right now, Magadansky, who has won 3 FML titles, and I don't know how long he has been playing. It's like maybe 7 years or something, maybe more.
Let's
Absolutely
take
ridiculous.
An opportunity to talk about the players, like you say.
Yeah.
Magadansky. So he's undead. Does he always play undead? Like, what's his typical strategy, would you say?
He is an undead player, and when he plays competitively for the win, he plays undead. He's a sort of like a player that I like to compare to a tiger. He would get really furious if somebody attacks him when he's, we have this kind of mutual agreement that you don't attack each other at the start of the game because it's better to creep and take expansions for everyone. You don't want to be in an early solo and stuff like that. But he will come with his wrath if you try to attack him or creep jack him or something like that, and he will make sure you lose.
On Twitch, we call that being salty.
Yeah, yeah. Some people call him salty and stuff like that, but it's also a kind of a theoretical thing, because if you kind of get that reputation, like you will suicide someone if they're like bullying you or something like that, people will often think twice before they do that to you. So
yeah,
that's because it's the same players who play together, so you would they have this kind of reputation thing to think about.
That's true.
So, but he's also very cunning and tactically minded, and he doesn't mind losing his base once in a while.
Well, he's undead, so he's going to have to expect that.
Yeah, and get good heroes, and instead he will just coordinate and make sure that he wins in the end by some unexpected moves. That's usually how he wins.
Do you know much about Noax, the blue human at the bottom right?
Yeah, he's one of the best human players we have right now. He's very creative, likes to play different heroes, but right now he started with an Archmage first. He's also very aggressive. He likes to play Griffins and just tome someone on 80 food whenever he has the opportunity to do so. But he hasn't been playing FFA for quite a while now, but he's for sure a player that is a favorite, I would say, in this game.
Cool.
And then we have to the bottom left, we have Alien, who's a really, really old school player with a good macro and micro and all that stuff. Also a very strong player. There's not so much to be said. He's solid all around, I think. But he has this temper issue. Sometimes he would get mad if he gets teamed. I don't know if you know that, WTii.
Yeah.
But, people can get really salty, and there's a lot of drama in FFA if they think something is happening unrightfully to them because of teaming and that sort of stuff. And in the upper left, we have Gradient, who you covered in several games. He's very active.
He's an enigma, this guy. He's a bizarre player. He's quite fascinating.
We call him the moon of FFA. Right, because he tries all the kind of creative strategies, and he is going for Tinker first and mass archers into Hippo Riders, which is very uncommon in FFA. He will try to rebuild and order in 50 as long as he can, and usually because of his weak micro, people will underestimate him, and he sometimes wins because of that. There's this kind of thing in FFA where strong players would go at each other because they want to balance each other out, while the weaker players sometimes can be overlooked and take wins that way.
Yeah, it's a difficult balance because you want to kind of make sure that you get rid of well, if you take on the hardest players, or in your mind, for example, in my mind, because I'm weaker on strategy and macro, I would see strong micro players as my main threat. Yeah. Because I would see them as my main competition. So I would probably try to take them out if possible, but is that a bad move? Should I be picking on the weaker player? But by doing so, am I letting, I don't know, like, what's your goal, I suppose, when you're going into a free-for-all game?
Well, that's an interesting point, actually, because if you, for example, are in Magadensi's shoes or Alien shoes who spawn next to Gradient right now, if they seek to tome Gradient and actually manage to finish him off, they will usually get a lot of experience and a lot of gold doing that. So, and there will only be 3 players left in the game. So the 2 other players, if they are smart, they'll say, okay, let's stop fighting, let's scout and peace, and let's team the one who tomed Gradient, right?
Yeah.
So it can bite you if you try to pick on the weaker players in these kind of 4-way situations. you will not see teaming happen so so fast in like 6 ways or 8 ways, but in these kind of 4-way games you will see it quite often.
Certainly a lot of aggression in the middle right now. You've seen it. It looks like Gradient managed to get the experience there. I'm pretty sure. I was looking at his Priestess of the Moon. She jumped up in level when the dragon went down. So I just want to make sure who got the kill there on that. And unfortunately for Magadansky, he lost out quite big time there. So that's a lot of experience for Gradient.
It's not such a huge deal though. He can afford to lose the Fiends right now as he's transitioning into Gargoyles anyway.
Oh yeah.
They're just stronger against the Night Elf players, and I guess he's gonna hit Gradient soon because Gargoyles doesn't seem to be the best type of army against a human player, but we'll have to see.
Yeah. There's not going to be many creeps left on this map soon. What do you think of this map? It looks linear to begin with, in the sense that every player is going to obviously try to get that natural expansion. Like, that's the way it plays out. But then you can kind of get this inner section where all the goodies are, and that's how the players interact. But because you're saying that these players don't necessarily want to piss each other off all the time, they almost let each other creep the middle as well. So
yeah, it's because if you kind of engage in early one-on-ones, you would sit on maybe one expansion or none and fight each other off, while the 2 other players might be hoarding on 50 with 1 or 2 expansions each. And in that case, if you engage in an early one-on-one, both of you will have bad chances to win the game. So you always have to, in FFA, keep in mind that there are other players. It's not just the solo you're having, but there are other players as well who are getting better levels, are getting better creeps and stuff like that. If you're taking on a solo like that may drag on for a long time.
Yeah.
So that's something you have to keep in mind.
Pillagin's asking in the chat room, like, why do undead players go Gargs? What's the reason for that? Is it because they're fast? Is it because they're airborne, so they can manipulate the map quite easily, or? They're just not easily countered early on, I suppose.
Fiends are easily countered by Chimeras and Pandarian Bruisemaster. That's why you would see Gargs, and also because it just meshes so well with the Lich and the Dreadlord, which can use Nova and carry on Swarm on the Hippogriffs.
Yes.
And it's very easy to like do the hit and run stuff. You can't really do that with Fiends.
These battles for these creeps are so fun to watch.
Yeah.
I think this should go well for Magadansky though. The guards are really flowing in here. Scroll of Roar on
really
Gradient though.
Right now. Yeah.
Looks like
he's losing everything here.
Yeah, the guards are going to prevail here. The undead heroes are super powerful. Level 5 Death Knight with 229 mana to boot, so plenty of coils to throw around. And the Orb of Huam. Can you say Orb of Huam for me?
Orb of Huam.
That's it, from the Lich. Probably the most imbalanced item in the game, would you say? Or up there? Come on. You have to agree. No, come on.
There's a Staff of Silence and a Spell Shield.
Yeah, but who gets that? Come on. How often do they get that compared to how often the Orb of Huam is in action?
Well,
can't compete with the Orb of Huam. It's too damn good. Whenever I see the undead get that, I'm just like, ah, for God's sake. It's just -5 armor. It's just too much. If Blizzard came back and they balanced the game, do you think they would change it to -3 or -4 armor?
No, because undead is still the weakest race.
It's still in balance, is what you're saying. Undead in balance,
in solo and free fall, I think.
Strongest race.
Well, not really, but in the first maybe 10 to 20 minutes is a strong race. You can get a lot of momentum going with the Orb of Huam, like you say.
What about Banshees? Do they just not do the trick? Because you think that would be the undead's chance in the late game? Consistent levels of anti-magic shell spread all over the units.
It works against human, I guess, but yeah. I don't think it works against Orc because of the Stomp. That's just the best skill, by the way, in FFA by the Town Chieftain. You can't really dodge that in any way, and yeah, I don't really see it working.
This is very nasty. Those skeleton archers and skeleton warriors are really perfectly positioned to deal with the archers in that position, while the gargoyles mop up the rest of those air. So it's just another one where Gradient's having a rough time, although now we've got Alien coming in here, messing things up with the Panda, the Brew, and the Fire, sending them back on their way. It's almost like, you leave him alone! You leave him alone, he's my friend!
Yeah, exactly. Alien wants to make sure that Magadansky isn't toming Gradient too much. That's the only reason I could see for him going there. Maybe he wanted to attack Gradient himself, but yeah.
Because he's so... I mean, if this was a normal free-for-all, if this is just a normal free-for-all, these players didn't know each other, there wasn't this kind of weird meta at the moment, that red player would just destroy that green player at that point, and he wouldn't stop.
Yeah, probably.
So why doesn't he do that? I know we've kind of gone over the reasons why a little bit, but it just seems like it's such an advantage. Like, if you could kill Gradient right now, you get all the experience off of Gradient, and then Magadansky's still got Nox to deal with on the bottom, so he's kind of got the whole left side to himself.
But in these kind of games, you usually, when you pick a one-on-one with a person, you continue that route. Like, okay, there's this kind of unspoken agreement that if you attack someone, you're gonna engage in one-on-one with that guy. So Magadansky attacked Gradient, so he is in a one-on-one with Gradient, and now Alien attacks Nox, so they are in a one-on-one situation. It's just that if Alien, for example, went for Gradient, tried to kill him off, then the Nox would probably backstab him, like go inside his main and kill him off. He can't really, well, he knows that Nox is alone, so he might attack him. That's the bottom line, I guess.
Yeah, Magadansky's back in Gradient space trying to get some more experience, but Alien's moved on, as we've seen, versus Nox, and he's pretty determined to try and give Nox a hard time, despite the situation being not in his favour that much. Like, there's a good sort of level of defence there for Nox, although I would say Alien's definitely got a lot of control in this situation. You've got that spell shield on that Panda. You were talking about the spell shield being one of the best items.
Yeah.
Which is the one that always gets sold, because it's similar to the spell shield. I can't remember what it's called. I thought there's one that's like it, and it just
isn't that the Rune of Phrases?
Ah, yeah, there might be those. But if you were against undead, would you hold on to them?
Yeah,
only undead.
It's a good item against undead, but against Night Elf, it's not the best item, I guess. But he does have the Staff of Silence, so that's pretty nice on the Archmage.
Both Night Elves have opted for the Keep of the Grove as their third hero.
Yeah.
What's the reason for that? Is it because Entangle's just such a good way to sort of pick units and heroes off?
Yeah, he has this ability to pick heroes off, as you say, but also against undead, because of the movement aura they have, and with gargoyles, they can just, if you don't have a Keeper of the Grove, they can just run away, like nuke your air and heroes and stuff, and just run away again, and do that constantly until you have low health on all your units and your heroes, and then they would just dive in and kill all your stuff. So the Keeper prevents that by entangling the heroes, and you can focus them with chimeras and maybe use talents for fairy fire and that sort of stuff, to prevent the undead from doing that. But it's also very effective against humans when you want to pick off a hero, or with his ultimate he can heal the entire Night Elf army, so that's the main reason why players pick him. It's just the most solid choice, most players think, I guess. But you can also go for the Priestess of Moon, but yeah.
Look at this. Gargoyle on Hippo action. Who's going to win that one?
Yeah.
Scroll of healing going off there.
Sure, it's going to be Magadansky again.
It's getting more and more powerful. He's got lovely items as well. Book of the Dead on that lich.
Yeah. I like this map a lot. It's a kind of, because I'm also a solo player, or came from a solo background, you will see one-on-ones here with a lot of micromanagement and just domination, as Magadansky is displaying right now.
I think it's almost impossible for Gradient to come back here unless Alien just teleports into his base. Because this looks really rough now. He's only
Yeah.
got 268 gold as well, so it's not like it's one of these free-for-alls where he's had enough time to get 5,000 gold banked up.
No, Gradient, he's best on big maps where he can rebuild all over the place. He doesn't really thrive in these kind of small maps where it's a lot of micro and yeah, I see him leave soon, but knowing Gradient, he will probably try to rebuild until he has one building left and one hero left. But on the other hand, we have Nox and Alien fighting. It seems to be pretty equal right now. But Alien does have 7k, so
Yeah, he's doing very well actually on that. He's pretty good at manipulating the environment, I noticed that, especially with the creeping and stuff like that. Like you say, he's probably quite strong in the micro sense. Just sort of like recognizing the positioning and abusing that to the max. Very strong Night Elf player, because of staff preservation, abuse and all this kind of stuff. It's very useful if you've got the skill to handle that. Got a nice mix here as well. The Dryads are sort of like great for picking off units, slowing them down, allowing the heroes and the shims to focus a little bit more, like you said, to keep the Grove, the entangles. Staff preservation used there, very nice.
it also works against mass TP. Someone mentioned that to me. That would be really handy later on.
Oh, what? The entangle on the Archmage?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can tease them a little bit. You can make them think they're going to get away with it and then just entangle them in the last second. That healing ward lasts about a half a second there. Someone just chucked a healing ward down there. It didn't last long. Oh, Staff of Silence is on Nox though. So this map is quite important to creep early on, as you can see. Like previously, like the Ogre Warlords and the Dragons in the middle. So big items dropping, so it's really important that the players concentrate on creeping, because if you look through these guys' inventories, Spell Shield on the Panda, Kagger's Jam of Health, that's super powerful item that is. Rune Bracers, so these are all high level stuff. Staff of Silence and Nox. Not sure what Madagascar's got. I called him Madagascar, it had to happen eventually. Spell Shield as well on him, they're just giving them out. Kegger's Gem of Health again. So I noticed actually in free-for-all some players tend to stock up on the Periapt of Vitality from the shop, the Goblin Mercenary shop.
That's a smart thing to do, usually.
And that's only like 150 health. So if you get the Kegger's Gem of Health, which is 300, are you like sort of like super happy when that happens, or does that depend on what race you are?
Orc or human,
Orc for the Shadow
race
Hunter,
actually,
I suppose.
Can benefit a lot from those things. Yeah, if you can stack those on the weak heroes like a Lich or a Shadow Hunter or an Archmage, so they won't die, that's just perfect. Right now, Magadensky is actually being, he doesn't want to finish Gradient off. That's the kind of meta play he's playing right now. He wants to
feed off him.
This on,
let him rebuild.
Just keep the other players unaware that he's actually toming him and that Gradient is actually dead.
Massive fight in the middle here. Looks like Alien's backing out. This Magadensky is ruling the roost at the moment, but that might backfire on him. Because he could provoke a little bit too much attention. Like you say, just a moment ago, he's probably wanting to just sort of like stay out of people's hair, but give Gradient the hardest time possible, and do so without being spotted. But in the middle there, he's certainly given Alien a little bit of information, isn't he?
Yeah. I guess he already figured out, he's a smart player, he already figured out that Alien knows that he's in a dominant position, and he's on 3 expansions right now, whereas the other players only have 2, and Gradient have just his mine in the base, so he probably has figured out that the other players know he's strong, and they will eventually piece and attack him. So it's going to be interesting to see what he's planned ahead to kind of counter that in the future.
I don't think any of these gold mines have exceptional amounts of gold in them, do they? I think they just all have the standard, because it almost looks like they're almost all about to run out, or not far off it. It won't be long until they do.
Yeah, this is I guess one of the few maps we have in FFA with mines where there's not a lot of gold in, and there's not room for all this kind of rebuilding and all this kind of stuff. So if you start to lose your one-on-one as Gradient has, it's almost impossible to come back on a map like this. You won't see the great comebacks as you do in games on Sanctuary and other maps.
Yeah.
Where there's just a lot of gold.
Yes, Alien's chance to give Maga some pressure, which Maga's now responding to. And there we go, Hippos versus Gargs. People ask in the chat room who wins that one. But that's very dependent on the items and the heroes that support them. So what's your opinion on that?
Well, Magadansky can't engage because Hippogriffs are just stronger than Gargoyles are. He has to kind of nuke away the heroes like he is doing. And once he's taken down the Panda, it's just easy peasy because you don't have any Breath of Fire or, that drunken thing.
Yeah, unless you like time your Scroller healing perfectly with the Gargs, you're going to have a rough time versus Hippos, generally speaking, if they just smash faces. Even with like Dreadlord support with Vampora, I think people super overestimate Vampiric Aura. Oh, you're out. Oh no, we lost So. That's super unfortunate. Okay. Well, he's gone all quiet, so I assume he's just dropped his internet. I don't know if he's going to come back, whether he can initiate another call with me on Skype, and maybe he can watch via the stream and start commentating on that, but I guess I'll take over for now until I can get some confirmation on that. But Noex, as we can see, who's been very subdued this game, has suddenly just turned up with a bunch of griffins and tanks and looks like he means business. And Maga's responding to Gradient, who's been having some fun inside of his expansions, because why not? Gradient's got nothing else to do, to be quite frank with you. So it looks like Noex is now going to bring down Maga's expansion here, but the top one still remains. Alien's going to, struggle to deal with this, because that looks like a lot of towers. So that's one of the huge benefits about Human, is you can just stick 1,000,001 towers, and they generally do a very good job. They can be upgraded 3 times, which, as you can see, has already been happening. So 8 armor. It may be only heavy armor, but that's still 8 armor, so 32% damage reduction is pretty huge. And there's a lot of defense to go with that as well. Potentially Dragonhawk Riders, but I don't see any of those yet. He's sticking with Griffins and tanks, keeping it simple for the moment. No Knights. I don't think he's even rolling with... Well, he's got the 2 Arcane Sanctums, but I don't see any casters, which is unusual. You typically see a human player rolling around with, sort of like priests, maybe some Sorks, breakers, that kind of thing. Let's have a look. Haven't heard anything from the So. Maybe he'll come back on chat. Feel free to give me a call on Skype if you're listening to this So. And I'll just continue to do my thing, I suppose. Maga looks like he's stocking up. May as well take a look at his heroes. So we've got level 7 Death Knight. That's pretty damn powerful at this stage in the game. Level 5 Lich, level 5 Dreadlord. So he's very well rounded. Okay, Gimmer. I will try to ask So that. Orb of Corruption on the Death Knight as well. That's how good that item is. Say what you like. I think it's so imbalanced. Even a Death Knight with one of the slowest, most useless attacks in the game has damn well got it. But it does give him anti-air capabilities and helps to sort of like focus down air units with the Gargs. So that's part of the reason why he's probably got it. Potion of Healing, just standard. Circular Nobility, that's fine. But then we get onto Amulet of Spell Shield. Very good on the Death Knight, because the Death Knight is basically the backbone of an undead army. So if you can kill the Death Knight, you're going to have a much easier time. But if he's got Spell Shield, he's going to avoid that Mana Burn or that Breath of Fire, whatever the initial first nuke is, for a good 40 seconds. And then Book of the Dead, which is good support in case things get really rough. Maga's coming down here, but Gargs versus tanks? I don't know. I guess he can back off, but there's only a Fountain of Mana. It's not a Fountain of Health. Although the Fountain of Mana is very useful for undead. And here we go. It looks like the Griffins are slightly out of position here. The tanks aren't going to be able to do enough damage. Well, actually, they can. I thought there might be enough time for the Gargoyles to pick off a couple more Griffins, but it looks like there can't be. The tanks are really ripping into those freaking Gargs there. They're healing up quite nicely with the Gargs, and they'll probably come up for another round. Gives the Griffins some time to do some damage whilst the Gargs aren't putting some pressure on. But when those Gargs come back up, those Griffins aren't going to last very long. Frostworm is into play. Looks a scroll of healing going off there. Teleport from the Lich. Gargs ready to play. Get out. No, they come out. That's awesome. I wasn't sure whether they come out if they're sitting on the ground, but looks like they do. Aliens sticking to the hippos, fully upgraded right now. So let's have a look at Maga's heroes once more, because I hadn't quite finished, so I want to try to give a proper detail on it. Alrighty, so looks like the Lich, who's almost level 6 at this point. Orb of Corruption, of course. Crystal Ball. It's good in free-for-all. I would have thought it's one of the better items in free-for-all, but at the same time I feel like it takes up a space, and most of the time you probably know what's going on for the most part. Except for late game, maybe? It depends really on the situation, so I suppose you don't get rid of it just in case. Gem of Health, useful. Boots of Speed, very good for Lich. You don't want him falling behind and getting picked off. So 975 health isn't too shabby for a level 5 Lich. Scroll of Healing, just good for Gargs and Town Portal to stop him from dying when he gets nuked. Let's have a look over here. This is going super rough for Gradient. Oh, what? Aliens just had enough with Gradient. It looks like Alien might have decided, because So was talking about Maga feeding off of Gradient. It looks like Alien's probably decided right now that it's a good thing just to get rid of him, although at the same time he probably realises that he is probably definitely out, and since he's attacking his own buildings he's just doing him a favour now and allowing him to go into observer mode. So he's being polite really, because he could concentrate on doing other things, but he's being polite in this situation. Okay, so Maga finishing off with the Dreadlord. We got Medallion of Courage, Scourgebone Chimes on a Dreadlord. I'm surprised he hasn't sold that item, unless he's gone for Carrion and Sleep, which would allow him to still maintain that vampiric aura. Lesser version of it, the level 1 version of it I believe, but it's still there. Boost of Speed, Invulnerability, and Horn of Stormwind could be useful on these Gargs. I'm not sure really how much +1 armor is going to make a difference, but if it's a huge bunch of units, maybe it has some impact. A minimal impact, I would say. One of the lesser auras. I'm just going to go and check and see if So is available, so bear with me. Okay. Oh, he is calling. Sorry there, fella. I got this on busy, ain't I? Or so I didn't even hear the Skype call. But
Yeah,
here we go.
right.
We're back. Unfortunately, you're screwed because of the way Warcraft works, and you can't rejoin the game. But you can at least sort of see the stream, so I'll try to sort of like keep an eye on everything going on passively in the background whilst talking about other things. And feel free to just chime in your opinions on whatever you're seeing or what you think is going to happen, that kind of thing. So to begin with, like I was saying just before, Alien was getting rid of Gradient. Was that a polite thing for him to do? Because he didn't have to sort of do that. He could be spending his time harassing elsewhere. I think he was just being good-mannered and sort of like allowing him to go into observer mode.
Yeah, I guess
quickly.
so. Yeah, maybe he didn't have anything better to do with his time.
Yeah, may as well just destroy your building. Screw it, I can't do anything else. Got a huge battle about to happen right now. Unfortunately going to be delayed on this, but we're seeing Carrion Swarm really do some damage to those hippos, and the Nova combination is pretty massive. Those hippos are finding it rough to get into position, but they are slowly putting more pressure. The Breath of Fire is going off on these Gargs. It's a good little chucking of Frost Nova, Carrion Swarm, Breath of Fire, Drunken Haze all over the shop here. It's kind of hard to tell who's really going to come off on top here. A huge scroll of healing though there for Maga, whose Gargs have really benefited from that, and it's forced Alien to teleport out of this situation. So he's doing really well with those Gargs, and he's definitely quite fed at this stage. Level 6 Dreadlord, level 7 Death Knight. It's got to be level 6 Lich as well, minimum. I can't quite see. There we go. Yeah, it's looking really good. On this map, does the Fountain of Mana alternate? Could it be a Fountain of Mana or a Fountain of Health? It's like one of those random ones.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I think so.
And
From my memory.
I would have to say Fountain of Mana is probably the best thing possible for Maga, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Definitely. It benefits Orc and Undeads the most.
Oh.
Because Orc have casters naturally. And they can go there and replenish.
Yep. Thank you, Natrian, for reminding me regarding the sub count and all of that. I keep forgetting about that for casting these free for all. They block over the gold and such. Oh, Infernal being dropped down there on Nox. He's been a bit brave here, Nox, though. He's trying to do some damage to these guys, but I'm not sure if it's in his best interest. He's got tanks to help put some pressure, so the human player is definitely in a good spot with the tanks versus this undead army, but does he really want to risk it? I suppose he's trying to defend a potential expansion there. Every little bit of gold counts at this point. I think players will definitely run out of juice very early on, so players like Maga, Undead, have a lot of potential in these stalemate-ish kind of situations where gold runs dry because of the sort of like hit and run nukes, especially with that Fountain of Mana. Gimmer asked me to ask you a question. How did you feel about the last game that you played for Free-for-All Masters to get into
Sanctuary?
the final? Yeah. Like,
That
how
game?
did you feel about, well, I dare I say, your victory? You know, like your experience on that game.
Well, I didn't feel too good about it, honestly, because Valeford, he left a bit prematurely, I think. I knew that he didn't have the best chances to win, but it didn't feel like that like I truly earned that victory. On the other hand, it was a 2 versus 1 for like I don't know, 40-50 minutes against me, so if someone was to win it, I think I deserved it the most. But yeah, I feel like all the things that happened in the game played according to my plan. You know, I wanted to get rid of all the players next to me and peace with Valeford and just go on and take experience and play with the Farseer, by the way. I played Farseer because of Farsight on that map. It just reveals everything, so you have good scouting intel. And the second reason for that was because it's good on a close position like that. If you're next to a human player, I think it's easier to defend a tower rush with a Farseer than a Blade Master. But yeah, I feel like it was a good game overall. I liked it. I just wish that it had perhaps didn't take so long in the end with the freeway.
Got a massive battle, by the way, going on here at this stage. Alien's now having to defend his base versus the overpowerful Magadanska, who's trying to break forward into it. A fair few moon wheels have been used, but there's still some to fall back for on Alien's side. A lot of hit and run in here from Maga as he abuses the scroll of healing. The hippos have done okay though here. It's 81 food at the moment for Alien, 6,300 gold, 5,000 wood. Maga actually only has 3,400 gold, 3,400 wood and 77 food, so actually he's not quite as powerful as I was expecting to be. And he's down to 2k now because he's knocking it up to basically almost 100 food at this stage, so he's ready to go into the late game, because I don't think he's expecting to get any more gold since Nox has just picked off his expansions in the middle. And they're going at it, these two. Like, I don't know if you can see this, but it's a little bit rough. I don't know if this is really working for Maga, but I guess he really wants to get rid of the alien threat, but he's allowing Nox to expand in the middle and take over a little bit, so I'm not sure. Maybe, well, does he... he's offering peace now, he says to Alien. Probably because he couldn't find a way to break through it. That's the only reason I could think of it, because he wouldn't just try to attack someone like multiple times and then go, let's just have peace.
Actually, it's this kind of style he plays. He will embrace that he's being teamed. He knows that he's strongest, so he will allow the players to hit him, and then later he will offer peace to the one who he thinks is the weakest, so that the teaming was swift again, you know, to the one who's strongest. In this case, it's a bad thing to have too much gold, unless the other players are unaware of it, because that will often get you teamed. So it might work to your disadvantage, but as it happens, Nox is attacking Maga right now.
Yeah. Oh, so many tanks, and Maga just about narrowly evades them. But in comes the Infernal, and we've got Alien on the left side flanking as well. So we're getting into that 2 versus 1 situation, your favourite. So poor Nox here, stuck in the middle, versus Breath of Fires, which is really a tank's worst nightmare. So Maga's got absolutely destroyed by these tanks and desperately definitely needs Alien on his side to help pick off those tanks, because he's really finding it tough with those Gargs.
Yeah, you can really see the power of the human race in this case. You know, he's being flanked from two angles, and still he's like prevailing in fights. He's killing off Magus units, and those siege tanks, they're not going down. You know, it's just amazing units in free for all in general.
You get these awkward moments where the players are doing this kind of 2 versus 1, and then one player deliberately kind of waits at the side. Now, what's your opinion on that? Because it feels like that's enough to piss you off to not want to team with them anymore.
Yeah, that's definitely
Because
true.
they're deliberately letting you... They know what they're doing. They could keep coming in there and chucking in breath of fires and stuff like that, but he's just waiting, letting Maga take as much damage as possible there. And Maga did manage to break that by himself in the end, but...
Yeah, Maga will definitely have to hope that he can piece NoX in at some time, because in his shoes he can't, you know, allow Alien just to sit there and hoard a lot of gold. I guess Maga knows this, but the further the game drags on, you know, the more present it becomes to deal with yeah, Alien having 8k. I'm not sure how much NoX has at the moment.
Alright, let's just say that all these players play for all eternity and they all get level 10 heroes. So Alien has Demon Hunter, Panda, Keeper of the Grove. Maga has Death Knight, Lich Dreadlord, and Nox has Archmage. What else has he got? Oh, Archmage Panda. I don't know if he's got a third hero, is he? Surely,
NoX?
has he not got a third hero?
He has the Paladin. I think it was killed.
It might be one of those situations where it just keeps getting picked off. But yeah, okay. Archmage Panda Paladin. Who would you favour in that situation?
I think the undead heroes are the best, because yeah, it's a tough one, but because of the nukes they have, if the human player had the Mountain King instead of the Panda, he would be way stronger in the, you know, hero arena situation. But as it happens, Maga can just do the hit and run thing with Unholy Hour and just nuke away at his heroes, and you can't really stun them. So,
do you prefer maps like this where there's a lot less gold to be had, so games can be decided a fair bit quicker? Because right now I'm looking at Maga, who's maxed out at 83 food, 300 gold, and I don't think he's going to spend that 300 gold because he's probably going to save it for whatever last minute items he might need to pick up from a shop. So he's not getting any more gold. I don't see a situation where he can take an expansion easily as undead. He's really nuking hard on Alien here.
If he tells the other players that he's out of gold, I'm sure that he still got good chances to win. He got really good heroes. He can you know, still team the other players. He's far ahead in hero levels, and that's something that you can benefit on in FFA, because oftentimes 3 good players like it is now, they will team each other and hit each other until they're all like only have heroes left almost, and few buildings. So in that case, if that happens, Maga could prevail, I guess. But he's also against a human with a mass TP right now, so he has to take that into account.
Let's give you a scenario where, say for example, you've more or less got all the gold you're going to get. You've got 3,000-ish gold and 80 food army. Is there an item on the marketplace, and it could be anything, that you would value buying, bearing in mind that like the level 6 plus items normally cost about 700 gold and stuff like that?
I prefer the Staff of Silence. If I was a Night Elf player, I would buy Healing Wards sometimes, just because it meshes so well with Chippos. I usually do that on this map. Other than that, you have to be aware that it is really expensive to buy items, and especially on this map, you don't want to be broke when you engage in your one-on-one, so you have to be careful on what you buy. But I always get things to kind of stack the heroes with health if I play human. I'm mainly a human player. As an orc, you would stack your Blade Master with Claws of Attack, and stack your Shadow Hunter with health items and so on. And the Tauren Chieftain doesn't really need any items because he can't be killed when he reaches level 6. So just a boost of speed on him is sufficient.
Maga's having a super rough time, by the way, now. He seemed so dominant early on, but at the moment he's just struggling. He's slowly getting stuff picked off one by one, and now he's just lost his Dreadlord. So unfortunate. That entangle has made it so hard for him to retreat. I could tell that he didn't want to use his town portal because he knows he hasn't got much gold, and he's getting to the situation where it's like, well, if I don't get to keep my town portal, I've lost anyway, which is kind of the impression I was getting from that, because he could have used it on his Lich a while ago to definitely get out as it got caught, but he's been running around in circles and now has lost his hero.
That was definitely a mistake by him. He should have TP'd.
Also, there's a bunch of tanks and griffins inside his base.
That's the end of him, I guess.
Yeah, that doesn't look like it's easily manageable as an undead player.
This is what happens when the, you know, the third player, in this case, NoX, is confident that he can take the win against Alien. Because if he wasn't confident, he would probably mass TP Alien instead. He didn't need to kill Maga off, I guess.
Yeah, we saw that Alien was actually in control versus NoX early on, for the most part, but I'm wondering how well Alien's Chippos will do versus this tank and Griffin Dragonhawk combo.
Yeah, the Panda is a really good choice against Night Elf because he can just burn away the Hippogriffs and use the Drunken Brawler on the Chimeras so they don't hit quite as often. So I think he has the superior army, NoX that is.
Drunken Brawler is pretty good versus Demon Hunter as well, actually. Just because he has such a fast attack rate and typically does so much damage, so slowing him down with misses will be pretty juicy indeed. Dragonhawk's coming in here with some cheeky aerial shackles and some tanks moving forward versus the shims. We've got Metamorphosis in the back trying to do some chaotic damage, but it's not working out quite well enough for Alien as he's backing off here, losing a couple of shims here and there. And he's getting a few mana burns off when he can, but that Panda's still got 200 mana left on him, so he's chasing hard here. The Drunken Brawler and Breath of Fire combos, more hippos falling down as the chase continues. Alien just fleeing for his life right now. Has he got a town portal? He's just refusing. He's consistently like teleporting stuff back, but he's only got so many Staff of Preservations to do that. And one Dryad caught out on her little line. Although she can't be picked off by the tanks nor the griffins, so she might be able to get away with this. The little Dryad that could. Oh.
Yeah, he should have TP'd earlier. He shouldn't have taken that fight at all. I think it would be a wiser for him to just defend in his main with Moonwells and that stuff.
Yeah.
He had no chance there whatsoever.
If there's anything to be learnt from this game for the players, it's to use that damn town portal. At least these players get town portals. I keep forgetting to get them after I use them the first time. It's like I get to a big battle and I'm like, I need to get out of this. Oh, I don't have a town portal. Well, shit. I'm just going to lose like 50% of my army now. Brilliant.
That's the story of Night Elves, by the way. If they're against tanks, you know, they always dive in and take a lot of damage on their Chippos and then they TP away. And if they're good, they do it in the right time because they can't stay in the fight for too long. Tanks are just superior.
Yeah. You've only got a couple of shops on this map though, and they're like opposite ends. Oh, I say that actually. No, there's 4 shops to be fair, but they're right at the edges of the map, so it's not easy to keep visiting them all the time, as opposed to them being in the middle.
Yeah.
Noix is doing a little bit of bullying here, and he's still got this expansion. Well, I say he's still got this expansion on the right. I don't know how many times that's gone down, because every time I look at the right, it feels like he's building a town hall there. Oh, damn. Alien chucking in the Panda ultimate. Storm, Earth and Fire? I don't even... Is that the name of it? I've so rarely ever used the Panda ultimate, I don't even know the name of it, and I've been playing this game for so long. That's probably one of the few ultimates that I actually can't remember the name of.
Yeah.
It might actually just be Storm, Earth and Fire. I don't bloody know.
Yeah, I think you're correct.
It's a pain in the arse, the Panda ultimate, because whenever you use it, it splits your hero up, and then you have to re-hotkey him.
Yeah, and it's not particularly good against human either, because you want that Panda to cast Breath of Fire on the tanks, otherwise you can't really do much against them. And I think NoX is taking the lead here. It seems like they underestimated him in the game.
Yeah, would you have predicted he would have won this? Because I wouldn't. I would have thought it'd be between Alien and Maga in the end. I actually thought Nox might go first.
But that just goes to show that you can't allow a human to be left alone in a three-way when they have a level 6 Archmage. That's pretty stupid, but yeah.
Yeah, the tank and mass teleport combo has got to be admittedly fairly broken for
Yeah, it is.
especially free-for-all scenarios.
That's why human players and often myself get teamed when we are in three-way situations.
It's super hard to counter that a lot of the time until you've got one base that you're defending, but then if that's the case and there's still gold mines about, you've kind of lost already because you're stuck in one place.
Yeah,
also, humans can chuck down so many towers, can't they? And there's not really that much punishment for doing it.
The only way you can sort of deal with tanks is by just going in with the panda and throwing Breath of Fire and Breath of Fire and Breath of Fire at least 4 or 5 times until they're weakened, and then you go in with your entire army and just wreck the human player. But I think Nox is smart enough. He will just mass TP out if he senses a danger. But right now, isn't Alien at 100 food?
Alien is 92 food with 235
92.
gold.
Okay. So he might be able to put up a fight, but...
oh, damn.
It's going to be hard
Shims
for him.
being caught here with Dragon Hawks. And Alien's now down to 82 food. Versus Nox's 98 food, with Nox having 1,300 gold. There's a lot of picking off units going on this game. I mean, the players are doing a good job, generally speaking, in terms of saving, but there's been a lot of that going on. Oh, mass teleport attempt on the tank, but there's no way that's going off in time. Do you think the Fountain of Mana in the middle has determined the hero choice for these players? Like, would we be seeing as many pandas if it wasn't for that Fountain of Mana? Because I think that's a damn good reason to get a panda, is a Fountain of Mana in the middle.
Yeah, you would see a lot of pandas, and that's basically because in FFA you would see people just build moonwells all over their base, because it's just a great way to defend your main. You don't want ancient protectors because they are horrible. You want the moonwells to heal up your heroes and fight in your own base, but yeah, Alien has to go out on the map as Nox is mining, and it's not paying off for him at all.
he got really caught out in a horrible position, but at the same time I saw it and I thought, oh wow, maybe this is actually going to work out really well for him. His panda and his demon hunter are stuck in the middle of that human army, or on the right hand side of it, but they could still chuck out some lovely Breath of Fires and some chaos damage with a metamorphosis and do some massive damage to these clumped up human units. Nope, that panda went down quite quickly, and there's not even a Mountain King on the Nox's team, so I'm not even sure how that panda went down so early other than the Griffin focus. But Alien is down to 33 gold and is getting his hero back the slow way. So he's got a while to wait before that panda comes in again, but I think he can buy himself just about enough time before Nox decides to pressure with these 100 food of Griffins, tanks and Dragonhawk riders.
And Nox, he played this game right, you know. He went in there, he killed Mag at the exact right point, and he was patiently waiting for the other players to kind of hit each other enough so they were weak. Yeah, just took opportunity of the situation. That's usually what wins FFA games.
Yeah, he's going strong here now. The tanks are really putting lots of pressure on. He saved 2 Dragonhawk riders, so they'll be healing up nicely at base. And it's up to this panda really just how many successful drunken hazes and Breath of Fires he can get off on these shippos to just sort of keep them under control, whilst the tanks also try to do some damage over time. Mass teleporting in onto his own tanks there, just because he can. And there's a lot of moon wells left for Alien, and it is nighttime still, but this pressure...
He doesn't have a panda, does he?
No. In fact, that's a good point. I think that ulti might have gone down. Yeah, it must have gone down. Shite.
Yeah.
That's really unfortunate, because that ulti, he must have been about 85 to 90% of the way built by that time that Nox got to that base.
Yeah, I think so. Roughly.
So yeah, fighting this off without a panda, which is basically the #1 hero you'd want in this situation versus this human army. Okay, that's really rough. There's so many mass teleports going off here. And he's just trying to get some sort of awesome position. And he has. He's kind of like messed up the Demon Hunter. And he's now wasting a lot of time running up off the north. And the Shippos are on the left-hand side. So they've been picked up. And
That's
down gets the
painful.
Keeper of the Grove. Yeah. Dragon Hawks are back after they've healed up to throw down their aerial shackles once more. You see the mana burn there on the Dragon Hawk Rider. That was pretty awesome, actually. I think I've ever seen anyone mana burn a Dragon Hawk
Alien
Rider.
is really trying, but I think he knows that this is GG.
Yep. So, how do you feel about this? Because you're going to be playing in the final.
Against
And
Nox.
yes,
Yeah.
now you're going to be against Nox. But if you could pick one of those players, which one would you pick? And would it be because they're strong or weak or what?
I
This is the part where you
I
slag
think
them off.
I think I would pick Nox or Alien, to be honest. It's just because if I play with Gradient in the final, I'm afraid that somebody else will tome him and get super strong heroes. So I feel confident that I can beat Nox in a one-on-one situation. We had our kind of back and forth fights, but yeah, I'm looking forward to play with the human brethren in the final. That would be really awesome.
I look forward to casting it. That's going to be a lot of fun. Do you know what the map is going to be, by any chance, or is that still to be debated?
I think it's still to be debated.
Okay, fair enough then. Right then, I'm going to say thank you very much for joining me, So for this cast. It's unfortunate you got disconnected during it, but you still stayed with us, so thanks very much for that. And
Thanks for having me.
yeah, that's absolutely perfectly fine. It was a lot of fun, and it takes a little bit of a weight off me. I have a better throat now at the end of this as compared to that 2 hour one I was doing solo. Because you just kept that game going on for so damn long. You wouldn't die. You refused to die, so I had to keep on commentating.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so thanks everyone for watching. Take care, guys. Make sure to stay tuned to Free For All Masters, where this is all happening. There'll be the finals coming up shortly, I think in about a week or so.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, let me
hopefully
check.
we'll be
Let me confirm that. Yeah.
covering that. So you can't co-cast with me on that because you'll be playing, and that'll be cheating. Because you'll be in the Skype call and I'll be just saying everything that's happening.
But WTii, can you promise us a FFA where you'll play also?
My subscribe emote on Twitch is welcome to Free For All, the game where everyone's a fucking lucker except for you. Like, that is my actual sort of subscribe note, and
Yeah.
that's how I feel about Free For All. I am a really salty player. I'm a bad winner and a bad loser.
That's
Like,
all right. Yeah. We all
I
get mad
I'm
sometimes.
super impatient. I'm highly aggressive. I have very little strategy, sort of like surrounding awareness, really, when it comes to sort of like, oh, this player's doing this player's doing that. I should probably leave them alone. It's no, I'm going in.
Yeah. That comes with experience.
Do you think I would be the one that get toned? So that Gradient would be toming me.
I think you could tone Gradient. I think you
Okay.
could.
Well,
I
maybe
have
I would play.
confidence in
Maybe I'll
you.
play just for that purpose, just so I could be that guy that picks on Gradient. That would be enough for me, and then I could get killed after that.
Poor Gradient. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thanks everyone for watching. Stay tuned for more. Subscribe to Twitch and YouTube. Is there anywhere people can find you, or just keep watching you on the Free For All Masters?
Yeah, just keep watching me on the Free For All Masters. I sometimes stream, but yeah, just catch me there. Write to me, message me.
Okie doke. Thanks to Ponty as well for inviting me to cast these, and take care, guys. See you later.